Hello, this is Myst with Myst Astrology, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is actually my first YouTube video on my channel, so thank you for listening and being here at the very beginning of my journey with YouTube. I plan to share a lot more videos as the year goes on. And in this video, I am actually sharing a discussion that I had with SEHER for her Astrology and Herbalism for Everyday Life course. This course is an online, self-paced course that teaches students how to use both astrology and herbalism for plant-based living in their daily life. And I had a great time talking to Sahir and sharing a bit about our 2022 astrological forecast and some things to keep an eye out for at the beginning of 2022 especially. And I'm just going to share that conversation here. So thank you all again for listening, and be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more.
All right, welcome class. Welcome to our first interview in our interview series. I'm super excited to bring this knowledge to you all. Sitting here listening to me talking about herbs and astrology and above and below is one thing, but to be able to tune into the professionals and the practicing herbalists and astrologers in our communities, in my community, because I actually know a bunch of different ones kind of spread all around, is a true gift. And I'm really, really excited to be able to bring this to you all. So for our first interview, I'm going to go ahead and read our bio, a short bio for our first friend online. Myst Astrology is here to help guide your soul's intention using the evolutionary lens of astrological design. By applying astrological awareness towards self-mastery, you can maximize your potential to consciously create productive results in a life full of possibilities. Absolutely love that. Myst Astrology, welcome to Astrology and Herbalism for Everyday Life. Thank you for being here.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. I love talking astro, and I'm just so honored to be a part of this course and helping you all learn more about astrology.
Yes, truly a gift. And I don't know if you're going to talk about any of your personal astrology, but especially from a mind like yours, when I decided to do interviews for this class, you were one of the first few people that I thought of bringing on, because I just love to hear your perspective and read your words, and the way that your personal chart develops your awareness of what's going on above is, to me, stellar. And I'm very, very grateful that you are sharing your perspective with the students. So thank you, love.
Yeah, it's actually for just right now too, I'm really zooming in on what's happening in our transits for 2022. Um, we are in the new year, and oh my goodness, ever since 2020, we have been around to experience some very transformational, transitionary times. And we're just getting started. We are actually just getting started. So I definitely want us to kind of zoom in on what's happening in 2022 so we can become conscious creators in this process. My approach with astrology has a lot to do with allowing the astrological transits and our awareness of their transits, their unique design, how they impact us and how they kind of create an opportunity for us to align with our highest potential. And that opportunity is creation. It's the conscious decision to create with those transits, and also how they align with our unique astrological design, or what we often call our natal chart. So if anyone here in this class actually has access to their natal chart, I would highly recommend pulling it out while I talk, or any sort of chart that you feel is relevant. Um, so yeah, how did you want to do this, Sahir? Did you want to kind of have a conversational style, or I know when I start talking about astrology, I can get into like this lecture mode.
I mean, this is a class, so I have my notebook here myself, so I'm prepared for a lecture and to just listen. I have a probing mind. So if I have a question, I will definitely ask if it's like I have to ask, but I'm definitely open to have a conversation. Though I just want to hear what you have to share. So you can, nudge me if you want me to join in, but the floor is yours.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And also feel free to ask any questions because that always helps with making sure that we're getting comprehensive learning opportunities too. So, well, I will dive right in. Oh, wow. Let's just take a moment to think about
Let's just stop here for a moment, right? Because that's what we can talk about is wow.
Yeah, I mean, this journey with astrology on a more professional public level began for me in December 2020. Prior to that, I was doing astrology a lot at home or with my friends in private. And there was something called the Jupiter and Saturn grand conjunction that happened on December 2020. Conjunction is when two planets come very close together and they end up kind of making this planetary stew, I would call it, and you get to have a little emphasis of their flavors together, and it's a unique flavor every time. And Jupiter and Saturn, these planets have a lot to do with our social responsibility. They have a lot to do with what we're building, what we're aspiring towards. Saturn being that Capricorn energy, really trying to establish something, and Jupiter being that Sagittarian and Piscean energy, having a lot of divine inspiration behind it, a lot of higher calling energy. And we all might have felt this opportunity to expand our potential around that time, even if our reality around us, our material reality, doesn't quite reflect it yet. I found in this process of conscious creating with the planets that Saturn, which definitely rules our time and our ability to see manifested material results, has a little bit of a slower pace than maybe our minds might work, or maybe our hearts and our imaginations might work. But I definitely felt this very strong potential to create something that I was truly passionate about, to realign my energies with something that would reveal a more valuable life in the long term. Meanwhile, we had a lot of global shifts occurring, and the pandemic happened. A lot of social change occurred from that. And right around when the pandemic started, we had a lot of Aquarian, Uranus energies happening in our transits. And this, I believe, from my observations, has a lot to do with the shift that we're entering into with the Aquarian age. Aquarius is the 11th zodiac sign that rules our ability to relate on a larger social level, a collective level, our ability to be innovators for change, to be pillars of light for a future that is a lot different than what Capricorn, the sign previous to Aquarius, had built up. I say Aquarius is that the friend who sees the Saturn's ideas and says, okay, but let's try something completely different because that also could work.
I'm laughing though. I have my microphone on mute. You can't hear me, but that's for real. Yeah. And then and then they hand it all off to Pisces. Like, give me a break.
Exactly. And that's what 2022 is going to be about, is handing this energy off to Pisces for a little bit.
Yes.
So as we have this overarching theme of social change, collective change with Saturn and Jupiter, which it's going to take some time for us to see the full effects of what occurred in 2020. 2022 is just the year for creation. I've seen 2020 kind of being that conception mode of like, I can conceive of something here. And 2021 is kind of taking care of those details, starting to maintain what it is that's been conceived on a more inner level, that realization becoming more clear. And I'm really seeing 2022 as getting our hands a bit dirty and creating this reality a bit more, less of a mental energy and more of a getting it done steadily energy. A lot of this has to do with our north and south node. So in astrology, we have a measurement called the north node and the south node. And these are lunar points. They are a measurement around the moon and the shadow of the moon. You can do some more research on that because that's a whole other side of the brain.
And
but
complex to understand too.
Yeah, I'm still trying to process how to explain it.
Yeah.
But they change about every 18 months, and these nodes, I kind of see them as the pillar of lights for our collective journey into a larger lesson. Something that we are growing into is the North Node, and something that we are shedding is the South Node. And we have these North and South nodes in our natal charts. We were born with them, but we also have them in our transiting charts, and they change every 18 months. So since around 2020 to 2021, we've been in this North and South node journey of Gemini and Sagittarius. Gemini being this North node energy, this mental. Gemini is mercurial, so it has to do with our thoughts, it has to do with what we communicate, it has to do with how we gather information. And I also see it as our mental programming. And when we get to Capricorn energy, going in order of the astrological wheel, or my apologies, Cancer energy, going in order of the astrological wheel, we begin to ground these mental energies that Gemini conjured up in its process of analyzing into our emotional bodies. So we have been working on conjuring up new mental processes for about the past 18 months. Meanwhile, we've been releasing a lot of Sagittarian energy. We've been releasing what Sagittarius deals with, which is beliefs, which is having this maybe higher, lofty idea that could have room for being reinvestigated, which is where Gemini comes in to reinvestigate ideas. And a lot of in ways that we naturally want to expand, we've been releasing because maybe we've collectively realized that expansion is lying in our mind's ability to perceive rather than by our will alone. So I feel like that was a huge lesson that we had. And this again is just my own interpretations from my readings and what I have experienced personally, and how I see the stars and the planets. But this huge collective perspective switch, and in this perspective switch, we've shedded a lot of beliefs. And these North and South nodes are actually preparing to shift into a total different sign come January 21st, so very soon here. And this is going to be a new theme that we're all going to be rising into collectively, and a new theme that we're all going to be releasing, and that's the Taurus and Scorpio axis. We're rising into this Taurus energy and releasing this Scorpio energy, and that's very different than Gemini and Sagittarius. So we are definitely encountering very flexible times as our ability to expand and evolve in the background of all of the different planets and how they're moving. And this Taurus North Node energy, what we're collectively going to, I feel like it's already present with this Venus retrograde, which I'll go into more as we go on, because Taurus rules Venus and Venus relates to Taurus energies. But this Taurus energy is really taking us to the material realm. It's an earth sign. It deals with our ability to work with the energy of earth, of material, and similar to gardening in a way, how we have to have a foundation to place the seed in that will hold the seed in such a way that it can comfortably and healthily flourish and grow. I see Taurus as being that layer of the foundation of the earth that hugs the seed. And we are rising into this energy, having shifted our perspectives while we're shedding Scorpio.
Scorpio doesn't like to be shed.
Oh yeah, it's
Scorpio likes to hold on.
It has a challenge to it. And that in that challenge, it's when we embrace that challenge that Scorpio presents, with the intensity, with the, oh, it's a dark hallway down there, are you sure I should walk down? That feeling that we get while we walk through that challenge, that's where the medicine is, I found with Scorpio.
Mm.
That realization that, oh my gosh, this is hard, this is tough, and I'm still here, and that's really awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah,
It
truly.
has a bit of an endurance to it.
Mm. Yeah, the fixed signs do though, right? Like that's that fixed sign nature, is the ability to endure. It's one of my quotes I've been kind of following recently is, if it's endurable, endure it. And I'm like leaning on my moon in Aquarius, like, come on, fixed sign. Like if it's endurable, just do it.
Yeah, fixed, and the North Node too, being in a fixed sign Taurus,
Mm.
right? The four fixed signs actually are very important right now, which are Taurus and Scorpio and Aquarius. And which one am I
And
forgetting? About
Leo.
Leo. Oh, we can't
Mm.
forget about Leo. My apologies, Leos.
The
You guys are
lion.
unforgettable.
Yeah, Leo would not have it either. But that's the fixed signs, right there.
The fixed signs. And all four of those signs are going to have a lot. So if you have Leo, if you have Scorpio, if you have Aquarius, or Taurus in your chart, anywhere in your chart, which we do, especially in your planets, your personal planets, which is the sun through Mars, this is a big year for really seeing that vision and being able to see it in a new way, at the same time. It's being focused yet flexible here, because Aquarius, we're getting a new Aquarius with Saturn being in Aquarius, and these Pluto is on its way to being in Aquarius as well, which is really going to transform. Pluto has a lot to do with our ability to awaken, to our ability to renew ourselves, to transform ourselves, to let go of an identity, or let go of any sort of, like we were talking about with Scorpio. Scorpio relates to Pluto energy, by the way. Pluto is the ruler for Scorpio. So there's parallels here. They resonate with each other, but not being able to be afraid of that release so you can transform. So with that paired with Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to actually take place March 23rd, 2023. It's going to be a brief visit there. The planets have their own momentum. They move forward for a certain amount of time, they go backwards for a certain amount of time. They have cycles and different signs. We're just getting a whole new Aquarius energy. We're getting a whole new Aquarius energy. So I think we're getting a whole new Saturn too, because Saturn's in Aquarius. And in this process of having intentions or goals, we have to be flexible, because Aquarius is not, it's not meant to be put in a box. It's not meant to be easily labeled or discerned. It's meant to keep you on your toes a little bit, keep you fresh and guessing and investigating, and kind of celebrating the spontaneity of life, the innovativeness, the quirkiness of life. So yeah, we're definitely getting a lot of new energies that we've never seen before, especially with Jupiter in Pisces too, which I will get to.
Yeah.
So for now, yes. So for now, just look at your chart, see where you have Taurus, maybe circle that house or that planet, and just keep in mind that this is an area that you can experience a lot of growth in your life, a lot of opportunities to do a little deeper probing, and growing in that area. And when we think about Taurus, the ruling planet for Taurus is Venus. And I love astrology because it verifies itself over and over again.
Time and time again.
Over and over again, it overlaps. And Venus has been in retrograde since December 19th. And we're recording this on January 5th. So it's been in retrograde for a little bit, and it's going to remain in retrograde until around February 28th. Um, and this is very significant because it's going to be in retrograde when the North Node shifts into a sign that is dealing with Venus energies. And it's also in Capricorn. Venus and Capricorn, this is a very, very noticeable sign, in its reality. It's hits of reality with it. Capricorn is relating to Saturn, so Saturn also has a lot of lessons to teach us. It has a lot of karmic lessons too, things that cause and effect have created in our lives that we have to now just look at it and be like, okay, how do you feel about it? How do you want to handle it? How could you handle it better? Did you handle it well enough? These are questions that Saturn will ask. And when we have planets in retrograde, I typically really encourage the narrative of taking time to listen within, really being willing to pause and ask a couple of questions. Because this retrograde energy is here to help us review. It's going to help us receive information that maybe we stumbled over because when we were in direct motion, we weren't looking as intentionally. It's like backtracking to find your keys or your wallet. You look a little harder. So with Venus being in retrograde in Capricorn during this North Node shift, I see this as the next 18 months. Although Venus is going to go into direct motion come February, she's really, really trying to get us to look about how we love, how we see pleasure, Venus themes, abundance, connection, ease. Venus is very much the easy, loving, kind of free but simple spirit. And also has a lot to do with our banking and our values. You can look up all the definitions for Venus and which ones resonate with you the most online or in class, I'm sure. But she's going to be a theme that's going to be in a grand review for the next 18 months, even while she's in direct motion. And this is, at first, I think so far, we're kind of starting to get a taste of these themes coming up for review. And we want the answers potentially sooner than later. But I also see this as a great opportunity to very intentionally build value in our life, to put that foundation down, to put that Taurus foundation around our seed, for the next 18 months, and to not rush that process, but to do it thoroughly and mindfully, with every decision we make, starting especially around February. Why February? Because Venus and Mars are going to be conjunct starting in February. And before I go too deep into that, keep in mind the rulers for these various planets, right? So if you have Capricorn in your chart, if you have any planets in Capricorn, or your Capricorn house, because Venus is retrograding in Capricorn and having her dance in Capricorn throughout February as well, um, this house is going to be a big area for you to welcome in transformation, to welcome in that deeper introspection, and keeping that Aquarian mind, that new perspectives, new experiences, maybe something we haven't imagined for ourselves prior to now, or maybe we only had a taste of it in 2020, but we couldn't quite get the full flavor in. um, those are going to be, Capricorn's going to be a big area to look at, where you can consciously create and set intentions and map out a little bit more, what it is, what value you want to build throughout the year with this North Node journey, up until about around the summertime of 2023, around June. We will definitely get to play with this, establishing our value and what Taurus themes mean to us. So Yeah. Moving forward, when we think about these planets and their rulers, the ruler for Scorpio, which is the South Node. So the South Node, just as a reminder, is what we're shedding, it's what we're releasing collectively, is Pluto. And it's also Mars. I actually see Pluto as a higher octave expression of Mars. Mars is traditionally kind of the will to do, action oriented, very much a primal, instinctive force that we might feel to do something. And Pluto has a little bit more of this mystical nature to it, transmutational will to do, and it has this instinctual way of taking action, but on actions that maybe are very subtle, in its material result, but definitely have an impact. So
Myst,
Pluto
I love you
ultimately.
just saying, I have to just say this real quick. I love the transmutational will to do. That's really touching for you to give that to Pluto. Like, what a beautiful way to think of Scorpionic and Plutonian energy. I love that. I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, but that just really touched me.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to really pay more attention to how Pluto actually feels.
Mm.
And instead of, I find a lot of astrological definitions are kind of based on interpretations and judgments of what the energies are, instead of just the actual feeling. So yeah, it's always felt very transmutational for me. And from the stories I've heard with people who have a lot of Pluto energies, that they just have this will to transmute like the toughest of situations, to make that light present. And it's interesting.
Yeah, I have some heavy Pluto third house connections, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? I don't know. I just feel like that's just what I'm supposed to do. It's transmutate all my whole life long, no matter how tiring it gets. You just have to keep doing it. I love that. It's really beautiful.
And the intriguing part about it is that Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio, and Scorpio being in the South Node come January 21st, all the way through 2022, up until around June 2023, is that we are going to have a lot of access to transmutational energy. But the point is to use that energy to shed, and to not necessarily try to create too much. I think a lot of the creation energy is going to come from the Taurus of knowing what your values are and listening to Venus. And by acknowledging those Venus energies in your life, which is going to take some self-love and also interacting with others and exploring relationships, exploring your relationship to money. Those narratives will come up, but by validating and that value, I think we can build a lot. And the transmutational energies is there to shed. It's not necessarily to force a situation to be something else, which I think when we have the South Node energy and we're not consciously aware of how to use it to our advantage, we might lean on trying to force something to be something else, when really this 2022 to 2023 energy is wanting us to let things be as they are and choose what you value, choose to create what you value. And so yeah, we'll see how that plays out
Yeah,
throughout.
do you think the Venus Capricorn energy at all is going to be putting restrictions on social connections? It feels like I have been having just this extremely strong draw back home. And you know me, kind of a little bit of a social butterfly, but it's just been like, you have to come home, beautify home, make home beautiful, invest in home. It's been so strong and heavy. But I also, well, I don't know. What do you think about the Venus Capricorn? What do you think about that? Those limitations put. Do you think that we'll see more limitations? When Saturn and Aquarius had interactions, that's when lockdown started. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. So Saturn definitely deals with placing limitations around us to see where we can achieve more.
Right.
There's this
Yeah, it's always for the
perpetual,
better. It's always for the better
yeah.
with Saturn.
It's always like, well, we'll put this threshold here to see if you can reach it.
Right.
And that's me. I'm a Venus in Capricorn, so I might have
Ah.
a bit of a relationship with how she works. But I definitely see a lot more limitations with maybe our previous idea of how social life works.
The
Because
shedding,
again,
right?
yeah, and that Aquarius energy being in Saturn, right? So Capricorn is still reporting to Saturn, who happens to be in Aquarius now, and Aquarius is like, well, we used to gather these ways and engage socially these ways, or find beauty, pleasure these ways, Venus, connect these ways. But what if we tried this way? I feel like Aquarius always gives us an option, even if it's really different or unexpected. So definitely limitations with the old ways. I think we'll feel that change versus the past, or the past versus freedom, maybe is a better way to say it. Realizing that we can still have our businesses, Saturn, or the old structures, we can still have an economy, but it doesn't have to be in the same ways that it was in the past, or our social construct doesn't have to reflect the same way it did in the past, or else it could be a struggle.
Well, like Facebook, they changed their name in Scorpio season and became Meta, and
Mhm.
shed those layers and was reborn in Scorpio season, which I thought was pretty interesting. Um,
Mhm.
and are moving towards this VR world. So it seems like the old Facebook is kind of over, and there's a new Facebook, what we know of Facebook, or we knew, this new metaverse, right? I don't even know too much about it because I'm just not going to go that route, but um, it's here though, and people are anxiously grabbing at those VR Oculus things and to disappear into a new type of a world.
Right. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember. I think Mark Zuckerberg's Venus is in Capricorn.
Oh wow.
Um,
And I mean, that's the one, that app is on point. Like, bro knows what he's doing. Facebook originally launched in Aquarius season, I think in '04. So like many of their business decisions I started to pay attention are totally in alignment with the stars. So I
mhm.
bet, yeah, I would love to see his full chart, like for real.
Oh, his Jupiter is in Capricorn, but his Venus is in Taurus.
Ah, you pulled it
So
up.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
um, but again, exactly. I think a lot of technology is going to get introduced. There's going to be ways around the limitations and barriers, which is why I think Capricorn and Aquarius, or Uranus and Saturn, can make really good alliances if they are flexible with each other.
Mm,
Otherwise, it could cause a lot of tension between, oh, we can do it this way, but it's this way, or it's this
right.
way, but I want it that way. There's a lot of shifting and changing, freedom versus the old ways
Mm,
that things were, or just in general change versus the past. I say freedom because I know Aquarius is in pursuit of liberating itself from something, and liberating as in making it better, not necessarily getting rid of it, but just liberating some sort of energy from it. Um, and also Capricorn is going to be Venus is going to be conjunct Mars. Come January 24th, we're going to have Mars at 0 degrees Capricorn. So we're still having Mars in a Sagittarius energy right now, and it's finishing up its cycle there. And just right around the time the North Node shift and the South Node, January 21st, Mars and Venus are going to be coming together in Capricorn, because Venus is doing this retrograde dance, she's just getting closer and closer to that very beginning degree of Capricorn. I think she stops retrograding come the 11th degree of Capricorn. And retrogrades are super good times to, again, sit down and listen and pay attention. Just pay attention to the themes, pay attention to how you feel, and when that planet goes into its direct motion, that's when you can take all those observations and really see and or acknowledge them, whether it's like an energetic acknowledgement of what you realized or actual shifts in behaviors or perspectives, come when that planet is in direct motion to create what you realized in that process, what you might have not realized before. So, and when we think about creation, you think about Mars and Venus coming close together to merge their energies and to interact with each other. This is a very, very potent, very potent, fertile energy. That harmonizing of Venus with Mars that's creation right there.
It is a very powerful position in the birth chart too, to have Mars and Venus in the same sign. It follows you your whole life.
Right. Yeah. And we're going to have this in Capricorn throughout February and then March as well, because Capricorn had finished its retrograde, and we have a lot of time with Cap Venus. We're really going to get to know her.
Yeah.
Because she's retrograding and then she goes back into direct motion, going back over all the things she retrograde come March. But after she goes back into her direct motion in March, she's going to move into the Aquarius energies and then into Pisces energies in April with Mars and Venus conjunct. So all this to say, from January to about early May, very early May, we have this Venus and Mars covering Capricorn, Pisces, and Aquarius. And whatever that narrative is that we are consciously creating around these signs in our charts, especially with Aquarius being an overarching theme right now, they're going to be energized. They're going to have a lot of pollinated energy. So, I mean, even to the point that we have to be aware if we are being conscious of that energy and how we can create, having already worked with our perspectives with that Gemini North Node in 2020 to 2021. Now we're creating this fertile soil for those seeds with Mars and Venus conjunct each other. And what I find really fascinating is that when we have Pisces enter Venus and Mars conjunction, um, meanwhile, we have Jupiter in Pisces already. It's happening really fast, really fast.
We're in it. It's here.
It's here. It started already.
I feel like it didn't really disappear, honestly. I mean, the fall was a little intense, but I feel like it's been, I don't know, I feel like Jupiter's been in Pisces for a while.
No, yeah, it's been 12 years actually since Jupiter has been in this point, but you probably felt that because you have that connection with your natal chart with that Pisces energy and Jupiter being one of the planets that work very well and close with Pisces. Pisces has two rulers, which is Neptune and Jupiter. I feel like most of the planets have two rulers, though. I don't know who
yeah, the traditional ones and the new ones, yeah. But yeah. Jupiter was in Pisces last year for a little bit, and it felt like, to me, I don't know, it felt like it just maintained, like, I don't know, but maybe it is. Maybe it's just because the Pisces energy, it was like, man, Jupiter's been hanging out. But I have Jupiter in Sagittarius too, so
oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, well, when Jupiter goes through this ride with Pisces for 2022, I'm seeing that we are having an opportunity to kind of grease the wheel, so to speak, to really work with this Pluto, right? We're shedding the Scorpio energy, really, really releasing some. I mean, Scorpio also reveals things that were hidden. So maybe having to encounter some things that might have been hidden and shedding those. And this Venus retrograde sure can take us internal, can make a lot of learning experiences more present in our relationships. But I'm really seeing Jupiter and Pisces being this very benefic placement of support, of really easing that ride, of really bringing that higher mind into balance, into harmony with the earth on a walking daily basis. as we create and shed. So wherever you have Pisces in your chart, especially the early to mid degrees of Pisces, that is an area where maybe you can call this your Trojan horse, or your magic, your magic trick. Um, this is an area where maybe you can lean into to find that support, that inspiration, and during times that you might need to connect with your higher mind, to feel that strong inner dream realm, to help you prosper as the material realm catches up. Again, Saturn takes its time, but once you establish what it is that you value with this North Node, I see that Saturn will eventually begin to materialize this, um, with steady focus, that is, on whatever that goal is, and remaining flexible with your intention for it. So this is a bit of a tightrope, but I also think that we are skilled creators, and especially if you're in this class, you're driven to obtain knowledge for the sake of something positive in your life, or for your own growth and expansion. And I think that that's a key trait to walking this tightrope with these planets. And Jupiter is going to really be supportive. And while we lean on Jupiter with Pisces energy, looking at Pisces, looking at this receptivity, this special attention to our, just this inspirational world, is kind of hard to talk about Pisces still, because it's beyond language.
It's so hard. It's like you can speak so elegantly about the first 11 signs, and then you're like, and now Pisces. It's like, I don't just, can you hang out with me for a little bit?
It's very much, at the end of the day, it wants the best in terms of, for all and for everyone involved. So I think Jupiter is going to be super helpful, and it's moving really quickly through Pisces. It's moving very quickly through Pisces right now. Um, and what's really exciting too is, and this is kind of towards the end of my, as much as I can share without overloading on the transit, but Jupiter is going to enter Aries come early May.
Let's go.
Woo!
Let's go.
Woo! And Aries is the very first sign of the zodiac. Aries is a very significant action point. So I think it's going to tie that narrative together, that whatever we began to discover and create in Mars and Venus, kind of fertilizing that conjunction that's going to occur around January 24th through early May, with Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Mars and Venus right next to each other, really having this dynamic and harmonious conversation as it dances back and forth with each other. Aries is going to connect to that Mars energy and see whatever that seed was, that bit of that dance that was occurring. And I think it's going to put a lot of Jupiter energy behind it, because Jupiter is going to be in Aries, because in May, that's right around Aries season. So that it's fresh energy. It's going to be very fresh. We're in that spring season. And um we we get to consciously create now what type of themes that we are going to honor and value, because I feel that once Jupiter hits Aries, it can be a bit impulsive. However, it does what it needs to do, and it
It at least
will
starts it, right? It might not always finish it, but at least starts it.
Yes, especially with Jupiter and Aries too. I'm curious to see how that's gonna come out. I probably should check the quality of Saturn by then, but yeah, Aries is definitely notorious for starting something and then being like, okay, oh wait, I have to maintain it.
The
So that's where
follow
Taurus
through.
comes in. That's where Taurus comes in. And Taurus is
Right.
maintaining that which Aries started in the astrological wheel.
Right.
So we'll still have that support of the North Node, I believe. We'll see. We will see.
I love that though,
Definitely.
that you reminded that's where Taurus comes in, because this is really where the empowerment of not only knowing the transits, but your own natal chart and how they're interacting really comes, because we really do have the support of all of the entire cosmos on our side. Like they're all here for us.
Right, right. And also, yeah, that Jupiter transit going into a forward direction is going to be during Taurus season. So
Mm,
when Jupiter hits Aries, we're going to already be in that season of maintaining. So it might be more of a subtle level too, of like Jupiter kind of finally opening those gates that we've been cultivating with Mars and Venus retrograde and Pluto and all of that from now up until April. I could really see Jupiter kind of subtly opening,
mm,
or maybe it will be a very eruption like with Aries, like boom, here it is. As Pisces was in that dream state, as Jupiter was in that dream state with Pisces, that receptive state with Pisces, Aries will put the fire beneath it to start getting the momentum going for whatever that dream state energy was. um, or you know, and it shows up unique in your astrological design. It definitely depends on which house Aries is in for you. um, but that will be a theme that will become even more significant come 2023 when the North Node shifts into Aries. So we are just building step by step, and right now I definitely see this staying focused, yet flexible with this fixed energy is going to be our
mm.
tango.
Well, then Mars and Venus go into Aries, I think. I don't know if it was May or June. I glanced and saw both those. So Aries is going to definitely have all the energy to do what it has to do. I low key love Aries. Mars is it's just a powerful energy, but it's always so tense during that. I have Mars and Venus in Aries, and so it's always so tense when they get linked up for me.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it has been very interesting. Long
Yeah.
term. Beautiful, friend. You said that was about the last. Are there some last moments that you'd like to wrap up with, or last thoughts, final
Um,
thoughts?
I that was pretty much it. I was planning to end it on Aries. I do recommend paying attention to the eclipses for any sort of just good time to sit down and check back in on what you're building. I believe there's going to be the next eclipse is going to be in Taurus come April 30th. Um, that's one to keep in mind. And then May 16th, the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. October 25th is a solar eclipse in Scorpio. November 8th is a lunar eclipse in Taurus. These eclipses are just great times to reconnect with what it is that you're shedding and reconnect with what it is that you're wishing to maintain and to build value with, as we experience Jupiter and Mars and Venus and how they create opportunities for us to expand.
Beautiful.
Definitely, yeah. Good dates to keep in mind.
Yeah, powerful year ahead of us. I think that Jupiter and Pisces is going to help most of us expand those softer parts of us. But there's always expansion of the dark side of Pisces as well. So we will see what 2022 has in store. It's the 6th year though, so we know that it is a year of like you said, that earth around the seeds, right, and nourishing those seeds. For 2023, I think it's an interesting time to be on the earth, that's for sure.
Yes, yes, very much a time of change and getting unstuck. I think no one wants to be stuck anymore.
And it's just so beautiful to watch the new generations come up with, born underneath these skies, to think back, however many, let's say 20 years ago, that the babies being born under that sky 20 years ago are now 20, 25, and they have the exact knowledge and interconnection and awareness and relationship with the environment that's needed, to take us into this next realm. So it's just so beautiful. And I love your perspective. I absolutely love listening to you. I don't really get to listen to your voice talk about it as much, But I love reading your words. Can you tell everyone in class where they can find you at, online, social, if they want to schedule a
Yeah,
reading, those things?
definitely. So I do have a Instagram and a website. My Instagram is myst.astro, myst.astro, and I post new moon and full moon announcements on there. I also announce workshops here and there. And my website you can find at mystastrology.com. There's also a link to my website in my Instagram bio. So it's all connected there. And you can read more about my background on my website, schedule your readings on my website. And if you're interested in working with me monthly, I work a lot with the moon cycles because I am all about the creation with astrology and evolving just our karmic wheel and our cycle with astrology. So I have monthly new moon and full moon gatherings with my monthly guests, and we check in on the transits and we just remind ourselves of what we are consciously creating and work as we go. So that is all a part of my deal with the ASTRO-FAM, and you can learn more about that on my website.
Oh, AstroFam. I'll make sure I add those links to this particular post as well. Thank you so much, Myst Astrology, Myst, for being here and sharing what you see. It is invaluable. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Take
All right, friends.
care.
Students, this is our first interview. I'm so excited. I have many more herbalist and astrology friends around me, and I will be bringing their knowledge to you. Until then, I will see you guys in the next class. Peace.